HarperCollins presents McAUSLAN in the Rough by George Macdonald Fraser, read by David Monteath. McAUSLAN in the Rough. Beaugisty. See this fella, Beaugisty? Aye, we owe him and his mates that wasn't in a foreign legion, in a fort in a desert, and the wogs was getting tore in at them. And all the fellas in a fort got killed. But when the relief column arrived, all the fellas in the fort was stoning up on the wall with their guns and bonnets on like they was on guard, but they was all dead. The fellas in the relief column couldn't make it out. They thought the place must be haunted, so they did. It was a smashing picture, but... Private McAUSLAN as critic on the film of P.C. Wren's Beaugest. Fort Yarhuna lies away to the south on the edge of the big desert. It was there, or something like it, in the days when the Sahara was still grassland. In more modern times it saw long-range patrols of Alexander the Great's mercenaries from fair Cyrene across the sandhills eastward, and it received the battered remnants of Hannibal's regiments after Zama. It was garrisoned by Roman legionnaires before the Vandals swept into it from the west, or Arab riders from the great sand sea brought the first camels and planted the date palms in the little village beneath its walls. It shielded the Barbary rovers' sea nests until a little detachment of U.S. Marines marched across the desert to plant the stars and stripes for the first time on foreign soil. The caliphs ornamented its gateway. The Crusaders built the little shrine in the courtyard. The Africa Corps stored the petrol for their panzers in its stables. The Highland Division left their inevitable H.D. trademark on its walls, and Private Fletcher, I suspect, scribbled "Kilroy was here" and "Up the Celtic" on its main gate. That was during the 12th Platoon occupation circa AD 1946. The reason for Fort Yarhuna's long existence is that it commands a crossing of the great caravan trails, the last oasis on the edge of nowhere. The great trains from the south, with their ivory and gold and slaves, paused here before the last lap north to Tripoli and Tunis, or before they turned eastward for Egypt. Coming in the other direction, it was where the Mediterranean traders tightened their girths and sharpened their weapons against the Tuareg bandits who infested the southern roads through the biggest wasteland in the world. Fort Yarhuna, in fact, has seen a lot of hard service and is a very hot station. Its importance to me is that it was my first, very own independent command, and the significance of that is something which Hannibal's men and Alexander's, to say nothing of the Romans, Vandals, Crusaders, and Leathernecks, would be the first to appreciate. Why we had to garrison it, nobody knew. The battalion was stationed on the coast, in civilization. The war was over, and there was nothing to do except show the flag, bathe, beat retreat every Friday with the pipes and drums to impress the locals, and wait to be demobilized. But higher authority in Cairo decreed that Fort Yarhuna must be garrisoned. They may have had some vague fears of invasion from the Belgian Congo, or been unduly impressed by seeing the Desert Song, but more probably it was just military tidiness. Fort Yarhuna had always been manned, and so it was officially in our battalion area. So, since I had been commissioned for 6 months and attained the giddy height of lieutenant, I was instructed to repair to Fort Yarhuna with 2 platoons, place it in a state of defence, occupy it for a month in the name of the King and the United Nations, close its gate at sunset, see that the courtyard was swept and free from litter, and in the event of an Arab uprising, I'm sure that someone had seen the Desert Song, defend it to the last round and the last man, etc., etc. Of course, there wasn't a chance in a million of an Arab uprising. Since the Italians had been heaved out in the war, all that the genial Bedouin wanted to do was carry on loafing in the sun, catching cholera, and plodding his caravans through Yarhuna village from nowhere to yonder. The nearest thing to illegal activity was the local pastime of looting the debris of war which Montgomery's and Rommel's men had left spread over the countryside. For in those days the whole way from Egypt to Tunis was a great junkyard of burned-out tanks, wrecked trucks, abandoned gear, and lost ammunition dumps. And, whatever Cairo thought, the local official opinion was that the Arabs could have it, and welcome.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?